Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, I'm going to answer a question that a few people have asked me about the sign just here. At the moment, it says there, act big, think small. Now, this sign, it's something new that I've added this year. It came about because I like the idea of a theme for each year. And this year, my theme is small. Just one word, small. Everything I do relates in some way to small. Now, as part of this, one of the small changes I decided to make was to have a quarterly area that I concentrate on. And for this first quarter, it was act big, think small. And when you look at that statement, it looks quite ambiguous. And I deliberately wrote it like that. By being ambiguous, it can turn this simple four-word statement into something really deep. And again, part of my key for this is to keep them short. Now, I've only got a few more days. We're getting near the end of March when I'm recording this. Then I'll be changing that. So there's a new focus coming up from the start of April. Now, as I say, this is a deep statement. And here we can look at things like when we're looking at a project. You know, we often work on big projects, don't we? So a big project, it's scary. When we see it, we think, I'm never going to achieve that. But by breaking down a big project into many small actions and then concentrating only on those small actions, well, it all adds up, doesn't it? If we work on small things, the big things, they just drop in. So to act big, to deliver big projects, think small steps that are easy to achieve. Now, when I do this, I mean, some things you can just put a title and you know what it means and you know the steps involved. You know, make a cup of tea, make a cup of coffee, something like that. You know what to do. But keeping with the kitchen analogy, if you had a project which is to create, I don't know, say a 5-course meal, that's scary when you think about it. But what you do is you break it down into smaller steps. You know, you look at the recipe, you get the items out of the cupboard, you then follow the recipe instructions. You've taken that big thing, broken it into small steps, it then becomes easy to do. Another meaning for this, to get big results, work on a small number of projects. Where this comes in, it's the idea of saying yes. It's our default reply. Someone comes up to you and says, can you do this? By default, you say yes. That means that you've got more on your plate, you've got more to juggle, you've got more to do. And to be honest, that's what leads a lot of the time to things being skipped or missed. So by acting big and thinking small, what I'm saying is, I want to keep the number of active projects I've got, to a manageable number. So whenever someone comes up to me and says, Gary, can you do this? What I need to do is think, is there another project that I can take out of my current lineup? If there is, maybe swap it in. If there isn't, say no. I do find by keeping this in mind, I'm saying no about 80% of the time now. It's working. I'm getting results. I'm delivering what I want. My last thing I think of when I see this, people that act big, they tend to actually think small. They often have a rather fixed view of things and they can struggle with change. And change, it's always present. It's always happening. So by focusing on act big, think small and changing that so that I'm thinking big, what it means is I'm being humble, but I'm also being open-minded. So if someone comes up to me and says, Gary, instead of doing this video this way, do it this way, I can look at that, I can think about it and say, he's right. Whereas if you've got that small mindset, you'd be more likely to say, I'm not going to do that. That's the way I've always done it, so I'm going to keep doing it. It's easy to say, though, isn't it, to do this? It's not as easy to do, but it is possible. All you've got to do is start doing it. That's what I did. 1st of January, that's my sign. Started doing that. I deliberately have the sign where it is because every day as I come to my desk, that's the first thing I see. On my computer, I have a personal knowledge management system called Obsidian. On the front page of that, at the very top, I've got my theme for the year, which is small. Then underneath that, in bright green letters, they're 30 points, so they're quite big. I've also got that saying. So again, even at my computer, even on my iPad, it's what I see, so it's always focused in my mind. To sum all this up, many small things, they add up. Try and avoid doing big changes. I've got to be honest, I found if you try and do big changes, they don't work. Instead, try and do 3 small things differently every day. That works out at 90 changes a month roughly, doesn't it? I picked 3 small changes. I have 1 for work, 1 for personal, and 1 for my YouTube channel. So I've got a focus area every day of 1 small thing that I'm changing. Now, some things you could change, and I often do these, is change your work environment. What I find from my desk, I've got a lot on it. So every week, one of my small changes is I try to either remove something from my desk or change the way I've got the desk laid out. The idea is to improve my flow. Another small change, I always keep a glass of water on my desk. One of the things that we often find, isn't it? It's easy to get thirsty. You know, we're working away, we're in the middle of something, we start to feel thirsty. What we do then is we get up to go and get a drink. But by doing that, we're breaking our flow. Having that glass of water on my desk, at the moment I'm cheating, I've got a cup of tea. But having that there, having something to drink, it keeps you in the flow because you're not disturbing what you're doing. You literally just pick it up and have a little sip and then on you go. Other changes you could try making, and this is around changing the way that you do things. Again, this is something I do all the time. Can you get up 10 minutes earlier? By getting up that little bit earlier, lets you get ahead of your day. And by making that one small change, you do nothing else. You might just get up 10 minutes earlier, sit down and read the news. But you're getting up, you're getting used to getting up earlier. Then you can add on that as time goes by. Another thing you could try, one of the first things that I used to do is immediately as I would get up, I would go and I'd make a cup of coffee and I'd sit down and drink that. I've delayed that. So now when I get up, I don't make that first drink until I've been up for half an hour. Usually what I do is I do a little short every day with some writing. So in that 30 minutes, I do the writing part of it. I don't make the video, but by doing the writing before I have my first drink, it's literally training me to make better use of my time. And as I say, these are just some small things. I find, as I've already said, by having that sign there, it's the first thing that I see every day. It triggers my thinking and it helps me to keep this in mind and have that as being my first thought for the day. It was the first small change, putting that sign up so I can see it. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I've tried to include a few little tips on what I do to try and make and improve my productivity. Have you got any tips? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.